Just fell off last season in the crucial moment, and that's down to experience and older players. They don't have any, but they got some of the best young ones in the game. Odegaard is fantastic. Martinelli is a breath of fresh air. Saka is amazing. Smith Rowe was great. Gabriel Jesus looks like a class player as well. So they got Saliba was the man of the match in the game. They got a lot of really good young players, and I like what Arsenal are building.
And the whole Saliba situation was an interesting one. To buy him 3 years ago, and you go, is he ever going to get a chance? What are they doing with him? Oh, he wants to stay at Marseille.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick's changed his style, got a lot of young players. I think Gallagher's going to be a big miss for them with his goals from midfield. But again, you know, Arteta's building something nice there. I think Patrick Vieira's doing a great job at Palace. But that is a really good Arsenal side. And Saliba was absolutely amazing in his debut for Arsenal.
Yep, could be an interesting, exciting season in North London for sure. Let's go to sell him in the next couple of weeks. Newcastle are after Maddison. There's all sorts going on. Chelsea want to spend 50, 60, 70, 80 on Fofana. They haven't signed anybody yet. How do you read that?
Well, I think from the outside looking in, it looks like they don't have a lot of money because they haven't really bought anyone, and all the best players are thinking, I'm you know, Maddison, Newcastle, Fofana, Chelsea. I think it'd be a worry, especially when you got a great manager like Brendan Rodgers, who's overachieved in many ways in what he's been able to do there. But to compete with the big teams, you got to spend money. I mean, you look at Forest and all the teams, all the money that they're spending. Leicester not spending any money. If you stand still now in this Premier League, you fall way behind.
I mean, the days of them even thinking about top four, even top six now, feel a bit distant, don't they?
It's a shame, though, isn't it, the journey that they've been on, winning the Premier League, a couple of fifths on the spin, Champions League, I think, quarter-finalists.
Yeah. Winning the FA Cup.
You're winning the FA Cup. They've been such a good story on and off the pitch, and it would be a shame if they turn into selling some of their biggest stars. And I think Brendan's probably hoping and desperate and praying that the window shuts pretty quickly, because if he loses those three players that you just mentioned, that's an awful lot of money to try and get replacements
to win a Premier League game. Now they're off and running. Where do you... Don gets very excited about Newcastle.
I do.
Very excited. But actually, I think it's justified this time. What do you expect from Newcastle this season in terms of a finishing position?
I mean, Eddie finished the season so strong with Newcastle, and the atmosphere with the fans and everything was out of this world. Look, they're punching with kind of Champions League teams there, you know, since Eddie took over. We don't want to get, you know, Don and the Newcastle fans.
I like what he says.
But they're flying. Look, and that is a brilliant start to the season. They've got some great young players. Eddie's done a great job there. And I'm delighted for Newcastle fans because they deserve it. After what they've watched the last 5 or 6 years, feels like a breath of fresh air.
I think top 10 is perfectly reasonable, isn't it?
That would be the target. We wouldn't get carried away thinking we'd get anywhere near the top 6.
No.
But you're looking at a couple of spots between 8th and 10th. Cup run's the most important thing as well. Can they go deep into a competition? But the mood on Tyneside, Mark, it's incredible since Eddie Howe took over. Everyone's together. The News have put a little bit of money in. Sven Botman's a good signing, very aggressive. He didn't start. But I think it's a togetherness that Eddie Howe's built, and the way the players are all buying into what he wants. He's had a tough pre-season by all accounts in terms of what he's put his players through. And the fans, as you see, every single time at St James's Park are rocking every week.
And 2 goals to really enjoy for them over the weekend.
Little bit of dip. And
he just timed his run, didn't he? Because just held his position. Then little darts. He was just in front of the defender.
Big mention to Bruno Guimaraes in that game was just a sensation to watch. He makes the game look very easy. He's cultured. He plays different positions. He never panics when he's in possession. Geordies absolutely love him.
Absolutely. What a start for Newcastle. 2 more matches to go. Let's head to...
Great signing for them, but I'm sure Thomas Tuchel will be putting a lot of pressure on the club right now to get 1 or 2 over the line.
And it is a goal scorer, isn't it?
He definitely needs a number 9.
Tottenham have got Kane and Son, and Arsenal got Jesus now. Where is that weight of goals from Chelsea going to come from? That's the argument.
Well, he's got a lot of really good players, but he doesn't look like he trusts Ziyech. Doesn't look like he trusts Pulisic. You know, so there's guys there you think they could get you 10, they could get you 15, but he probably wants... Lukaku didn't work out.
That's the problem, isn't it? You send Lukaku on loan, that's all of a sudden you're under pressure to try and replace him. And it's a dilemma.
But they've got Brozier, haven't they? They've got Brozier, they've got Gallagher.
But if you can't make Lukaku work, it's like, what do you want?
97 million.
What do you want from your centre forward? So obviously Chelsea play a different style that doesn't suit Lukaku. That's either the player's fault or the team that doesn't supply him with chances. So now you're reliant on Timo Werner, who I think will probably go back to the Bundesliga. As I said before, I don't think Raheem Sterling will get more than 15. Same as Kai Havertz. So in the big games, and you wonder where, when you look at Chelsea's numbers from now to the end of the season, are they going to be in the mix for a team that's going to be the top scorers in the league? Far from it, in my opinion.
One more game to have a look at then this evening. Bournemouth back in the Premier League after a 2-year absence. They're in action against Aston Villa.
Stevie G.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And for Bournemouth, something to hang on to now as well, isn't it? To get a win on the first day when you're under all that sort of pressure.
Yeah, I'm happy for Scott Parker, but I still think they probably have one of the weakest groups of players in the whole division. So to get those points early doors is huge for them. I think they could struggle this season.
Let's have a look at the table. I know it's only the opening weekend, and some of you think that maybe you need 3 or 4 games before you have a look at the table, but let's show it to you anyway and see what this opening weekend has thrown up for us. Southampton, well, that's, I'm afraid, just a continuation of what happened last season, isn't it? Nottingham Forest always going to have a tough start. Actually, West Ham is their game, I think, this weekend as well, isn't it? And Crystal Palace losing at home to Arsenal. Let's have a look at the top half. Liverpool would have been surprised their fans only to get a point. And if you're wondering, there we are. Bournemouth are above Arsenal because they are officially AFC Bournemouth.
Well, if Man City didn't play today, Newcastle would have been in the top 4.
It's hard to look beyond Liverpool and City. We've got to be honest. Despite the improvement of Tottenham and Arsenal and Chelsea being in there, it feels like it's going to be one of those two, doesn't it, realistically?
Oh, definitely. I mean, they're the 2 best teams in the world right now. So, they'll be, for me, they'll be there. But I think Tottenham, with what Conte's brought in, I think they're going to push them very closely.
I think they could be the story, couldn't they?
Yeah.
You see what they've done to Man City a couple of times last season, Tottenham.
Well, they beat them twice, didn't they, last season? And they drew with Liverpool twice.
They could frighten a few and take points off a few as well.
From Liverpool's point of view, I mean, it's only the first game, but, you know, they've twice lost the title by a point to Manchester City in the last 4 seasons. That will be really irritating for Jurgen Klopp to have dropped points on the opening weekend, won't it?
Oh, he'll be fuming because they played poorly as well. But I think the thing I like about Klopp is his sides are always evolving. They want to improve and they want to get better, as good as they are. So that was a blow, but they'll be better next weekend.
Newspapers tomorrow morning in this country, it'll be Haaland, won't it? Give him the old Zen pose, off and running.
What a performance.
What a start. Sleep well if you're Premier League defenders, because he's in town and he is scoring goals. That's our first edition of the Weekend Wrap. We'll be doing it every weekend as we look back at the weekend.